I feared the most, but looked forward to the most, if that makes any sense. The fear part of it is knowing that it was going to get extremely horrific for people that aren't spiritually prepared. Um, is excited about it because I know that we're closer to the Lord coming. Um, I just watched this sermon, and you see so many discrepancies and worldly minds, corrupted carnal minds, putting spins on people's lives, labeling, stigmatizing, statistical boxing, um, corrupting them before they even have opportunities to progress in life through curses, through opinions. It says people's hearts and minds will fail them for the things that come upon this earth. So you have to think about all the broken homes, broken children, children having children, no marriages, crime, violence, addictions, homelessness, and our children see all this. So that recollects to a verse in the Bible about Sodom and Gomorrah. Sodom and Gomorrah. You know, where a society becomes so lawless, sinful, and rebellious that it takes itself into its own destruction. Um, you know, when you see a lot of this, it just brings sin, brings wrath, falls on children that are disobedient. Sin brings judgments. Sin makes people sick, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and physically. So that's what you see occurring in this world today. And this is the mourning and sackcloth that you go into when you get the spirit of truth on you, just realizing what caused all this afflictions on people's lives and brought so much despair into a fallen world. We've gradually fallen away to this lawlessness, to this rebelliousness. And it's become normal. It's normalized and justified. And that's the part that hurts because no child is deserving of what society brings to the table today. No child deserves to see all this hopelessness and despair. It's not God's will for their life, nor any adult. But this is why I talk about binding and loosening generations back to the Garden of Eden, where the curse began, and how minutely and gradually each generation has progressed more into darkness. It says many will fall away. Doctrines of demons could be, it's just seducing spirits. Doctrines of demons could be anything. It can be a heresy in your mind. This is why we talk about the mind of Christ. Your ways aren't my ways. Your thoughts aren't my thoughts. Aren't one mind with Satan or beast of the field. We start justifying and coming to agreement with things that are so against normalcy and peace. But because we see it so much, we come to believe that it's part of life, but it's not the life Christ intended for anybody on this earth. We can't come to believe that the Lord put us on this earth for suffering. And the irony of this whole thing is we're causing the suffering in our own lives. Family betrayal. You see this in homes where there's rebellion, argumentation, conflict, chaos, dysfunctionality. You know, that's family betrayal. You can't even gather the four walls of your own home. And then you become masquerading like Satan does. You're masquerading as an angel of light. Because when you suit up well and go into the marketplaces, that means out in the public eye. You are, yes, ma'am, thank you, no, ma'am. And, you know, I went for a walk the other day, and I watched a woman and a man. walk with their children, and I thought, what a wonderful family, I thought they're out here at the park walking. But then the Lord put on me the spirit of Ahab and Jezebel, because a lot of us are doing this because we're so enveloped in our physical appearance, tight wearing clothing, tattoos. And I'm thinking, well, that, this is how we've committed to it all being normal. The body enhancements, physique, tattoos, the ornaments and jewelry. The Bible speaks about this with the Canaanites, how they wear their headbands and their bracelets and their, this is a seductory spirit. And that's what I'm saying. So you'll see the two drawn together. Like if you like materialistic stuff, a man does or a woman does, the opposite will be drawn to that same, who's into those same things. So then you have two uniting that have the same common interest, which their children will grow under that same. And people don't, this is how we've committed to justifying or normalizing. And it doesn't matter how good of a person you are. And here's the thing, like a lot of people will have the utmost etiquette and eloquent behavior and even be worldly and still be unacceptable to Christ. This is where we think our goodness is not going to make us into heaven. It's going to be our holiness and where our heart is, our purity. And this is where you're saddened by worldly people, because just a lot of worldly people are doing a lot of worldly things. And it's going to shut the heavens for them. Even they're the politest people in the world. Etiquette, eloquency. But they've fallen into the world's ways. And, and I thought, and then I thought about my life before I came to this cross, and I was like, yeah, I was once that person. I put myself in that position, and I thought back to that moment in my life, and I thought my life was horrific behind closed doors. This is where we suit up well, we masquerade, we dress the attire, we try to fit into society, we be accepted by man, the crowd, with our physique, with our attire. And then when we go home, it's just a whole nother door slam. That's why I say people can dress up to make it look like their lifestyle or life is so great. But then you have to look at the physique and the appearance and the attire and how they're wearing, their attributes and characteristic traits, and what causes the spiritual oppression in their life, and think, you know what, it looks really good on the outside. It looks really good. They wear it well. But then I thought, like I said, about my life when I was in those credentials, and I thought I wasn't happy. I wasn't at peace. I was chasing things that couldn't bring me happiness. I was chasing things that maybe on the outside, so the appearance to everybody else, they thought I was happy. But inside, I was dying. I was spiritually dead. I was not finding what I was looking for until I found Christ. And now my appearance is not so important to me. Remember, the pure in heart. The Lord searches the hearts of man. So I think about now I just wear, there was just a moment in my life when it was like that, and then I thought, but mostly I never really worried about fitting in or being accepted. But I believe when people can go into disappointments and discrepancies of what they think life should be is when they fall away to these physique facades, masquerading, dressing it up, wearing it well. We are great pretenders. We become great pretenders. But inside there's so much. That's what he says. You're pouring from a dirty cup. You're empty. You're emptying yourself. You're voiding yourself. You're lifeless. Because I think that the heart has to be right for the life to be okay. I really truly believe that now. And this is what I tell people, like, a prophet is just someone with words of wisdom, a counsel, a teacher. Some of them were the greatest sinners. To say I haven't sinned would be a lie, whom I was chief. But that's where I gained my greatest wisdom from. With great wisdom comes much sorrow, because you realize the failures and discrepancies that brought despair to your life. And then you're like, so this is why I say I don't think I'm better than anybody. I started looking at life through Christ's eyes and a pure heart and thinking, wait a minute. Because now when I look at people or I'm seeing other people, I put myself in their shoes and like, and I think about the life and I'm like, I know where they're at spiritually. I know where they're at emotionally. I know where they're at mentally because you can look at the attire of the outside. I'm looking at things from a different perspective now. I'm thinking, yeah, they're wearing it well. And that's what I thought of when I see these people in the park. I was like, I was once that lady. I was that lady walking with that man wearing those. I call it spiritually now a Jezebel spirit because the tight fitting clothes, the spandex pants, walking. He was muscular in his physique, all had tattoos everywhere. And, this is what I'm saying. Like, you will be drawn to spiritually. It's an unconscious effort. When you're wearing those attires or that physique or that character, you're going to be drawn to the person who does the same. You're going to be accepted by each other spiritually. And that's what I mean, like the ungodly soul ties that I refer to. But to that person, those people, it wasn't ungodly to them. It was a perfect fit for where they were in their level of lifestyle. But when you come to Christ, all that changes. You no longer are looking, and that's why I said I will never date again. It's something I promise the Lord. But I can really actually see through Christ's eyes and know where they're at. And a lot of it, like I said, unfortunately, is just trying to fit into a world that's lost. That's what most people are doing in this world. And I think until they come to Christ, that's what people will be doing. They will be busy trying to fit in or be accepted by the crowd. Remember, to be rejected by man is to be approved by God. And this is where, like, worldly people are always saying, "Oh, you're isolating, you're depressed." Well, remember, with much wisdom comes great sorrow. When the Spirit of Truth comes on you, you'll be in mourning and sackcloth because you realize how life has failed you and this world has treated you so corruptedly. Like you were like trying to, you realize your whole life you were trying to fit into something that failed. That fails everybody. It fails everybody. Everything in this world fails. Satan is God of this world. Everything in this world fails a persona until they come to Christ. Then you realize this world is not my home. I'm in the world, not of the world. Because when you come to Christ, it convicts you of everything. I get convicted of everything. How I answer some people are like, I'll have carnal-minded people try to say, "Oh, you can't you're indecisive, or you're this or you're that, or you're still talking about that, you're thinking about that. Why didn't you answer me then?" Because I'm very cautious. I'm mindful of the things I say and do now. It's not because I'm walking on eggshells or I'm worried about wounding another soul or putting myself in condemnation. But see, they don't see things from that way. People just are loose with their tongues. Like, they don't have control of their members. They don't think about what they're saying or what they're doing, how they're treating another human being. It just comes out, common conversation. I don't even think some of it's knowledgeable to the person doing it. Because I look back at my life and think I wasn't knowledgeable of who I was. I was lost. I was lost just like everybody else until Christ touched me. My visions, my dreams, I can understand completely what the Bible says. I feared this year for 15 years. I wrote down, how are you going to know a true prophet is? I've always loved the Lord, and I don't think I've ever fit into this world anyway. Um, so the Lord caught me. He caught me when I was being, I could say, seduced into a bad world. I prayed, I cried out, and I just automatically started having visions and dreams. Those draw near the Father would draw near to them. I will send you the Comforter. He will reveal all things to you. I reveal all things to my servants and prophets. So I think because I was so serious about my cry out, I was so serious about, it stopped me dead in my tracks. Every sin, every darkness, every pain, and that's why I say, I have pain and trauma now, but it's not like you think. It's from other people that are rebellious, like the persecutions. They don't value your peace. They don't value your new identity. They're not walking with Christ. So they're walking with one mind with Satan. They're not thinking about, they don't have the mind of Christ. They're not thinking about the little minute details that hurt other people's feelings. Or if they get up and they're having a bad day and, it's doesn't matter who did it or what caused it. I'm taking this character mantle with me all day long, and everyone's going to suffer because of my bad attitude. This is what I'm saying, you know. So people don't think about that. I don't think they have the mind, like almost like examining yourself on a full day conscious effort. Examining. This is where I've grown silent. The Lord says, guard your mouth in front of a wicked person. A wicked person could be just someone rebellious. I call them monitoring spirits, where they monitor your life. If they're unhappy, they're going to want you to be unhappy. So if you say something, conversation with them, and with a rebellious person, could be an open door. They're opportunists. Rebellious people are opportunists. You know, like some people learn to live in chaos and disorder. So they want you in that position with them, or they're just comfortably stagnant there. I mean, you know, they don't see it. Remember, they have eyes they cannot see, they have ears they cannot hear. You have eyes to see. When the mystery of the kingdom of God comes upon you, you'll know it. Then you'll start realizing your own erroneous ways, and you'll be able to acknowledge that in other people, because this is how you separate yourself. You are able to separate yourself because you're no longer walking in darkness, and you can see it for what it is. Not because you're casting stones at other people, but because the Lord lifted you up. The Lord lifted you up and said, wait a minute, that's damaging to you. That's why I talk about emotional mental witchcraft, the tongue of the crafty, because they're not thinking about or mindful of the words they say to others. They don't care about other people's peace. This is what persecution is. He said they're twice the children of hell, passing the seeds of the fire. Some children pass through the fire because of their upbringing. I think about that. There's some areas that are more spiritually dark than others, where there's a lot of crime and there's a lot of violence. And I think for them poor children, where they have to get up every morning, go to school, see homeless people lying on the sides of the road, people on the corners begging for money, sometimes passed out in the road, um, hearing gunshots all night long. You know, I think about this, and I'm thinking, what have we become? This is Sodom and Gomorrah. I mean, what child what child do you think should have to adhere to or come into agreement with or see any of that? When I was growing up, that stuff wasn't going on. People were married for 60, 70 years. It was a sin to even have a child without a side of marriage. People froward mind on that. You were taken out of your community and sent away so you weren't an embarrassment to their family. And now children are having children. There are no marriages. Look how far we have fallen away to evil. That's evil. That's evil, because look at the bondage that child will be in. Look at the bondage that family will be in. Look at the bondage that child will be in, because they don't have a solid foundation to begin life with. No discipline, no structure, no obedience. And that's this mourning in sackcloth that you go into when you become prophetic and you realize how this world is going into destruction by its own people, by their own hands, by their own suffering, because nobody wants to correct their error. They want to sweep it under the rug, pretend it don't exist. The great pretenders, just like Satan masquerades as angel light. Most of this world is doing it. They're all masquerading. They go out into the public eye. They pretend everything's great, everything's normal. We're all going to be okay. We're not going to be okay. Look at the grocery price. Look at the plagues on the livestock with the eggs. That's what the Lord showed me. Plagues of Egypt. One of them was plagues on the livestock. Egypt means like a confused life, a despaired life, a dark life. You could say that, like Egyptian against Egyptian. You're fighting. Remember, the last three angels' messages will be to come out of Egypt. Meaning confused. You went down into Egypt, strengthened your hand in Pharaoh. Means you hardened your heart to Christ's ways or his lifestyle, and it will be to your shame and cause you to perish. That's why we're all in Egypt. We're all born into sin. We're all in Judea. Jesus was born in Judea. Talmud, paganism, Baal worship. We're all under the power of Satan or Baal until we come to Christ. Flee Judea. Go to the mountains. We're all under that power. This world lies under the power of the wicked one. We're all demonically influenced until we get to know Christ. All of us, even some people that are in churches. The Lord showed me a spirit of religion 15 years ago. He said, there's a spirit in this world and it's not of me. It's not of me. So I stay holy because I know what's coming. I know, I've known for a very long time. And there's nothing or no one in this world going to get me to fall away. You can't be the girlfriend of Satan and the bride of Christ. And you can become the girlfriend of Satan just by sin, by rebellion, by curses, by there's a verse in the Bible that says some of the greatest kings and prophets would love to know the things you know and hear the things you hear, but don't and haven't. I have to say, sometimes I wonder, it's a hard thing to bear, but I have to think about it like this. The Lord loved me enough to show me the truth to protect me. He showed me the truth to protect me and told me to never date again and to get his seal. His seal is holiness. That's your only protection in these end times. I will preserve a people from death, sword, famine, and pestilence. I remember sitting in my living room and he told me, get my seal. I've had people say, oh, you're hallucinating, oh, you're hearing things, because they've not been touched by God. It says your sons and daughters will have visions and dreams and prophesy. That's biblical. And then this is where you mourn because you know, even when you're telling them about the Bible, all that Jesus stuff is making you crazy. And you know you've been touched, you know you've been revealed. But no matter what you say, they won't believe any of it. They won't endure. Tell us what we want to hear. Tickling of the ears. Prophecy lies to us. Tell us smooth deceits. That doesn't coincide with our sin and rebellion that we love. The Lord says, because I tell people in the dark about the prophecy we're in and the war that's coming, and they're like, yeah, we know. And I'm like, so what? I ask myself, why are they still living in sin if they know? And the Lord put this verse on me. I gave them over to their reprobate mind. They know the truth, but they don't love the truth. They love their unrighteousness. That's what he said. He gave them up. He gave them up just like he gave up Pharaoh. He gave him 4 plagues. He wouldn't turn back. So he's like, okay, go on. I'll let you do what you're going to do, just like Cain. I'm going to mark you for death. Here, I'm going to give you this mark. No one's going to hurt you. You're going to hurt yourself. We follow the ways of Cain and destroyed themselves. You will see the reward of the wicked and watch them perish. You don't have to hurt. Never envy a wicked person. You don't have to hurt them. They're in their own destruction. They're in their own destruction. And that's where you're mourning. You're like, wow, they think something's wrong with me. And no matter what you say, no matter how much you pray, no matter what you preach, you can have brotherly love and love people and still preach sound doctrine. Say it if your voice shakes. Don't be worried about who's offended. Worry about who's being deceived. Brotherly love. I remember when I had the dream of the woman clothed with the sun, and I woke up and heard the key of David. Brotherly love doesn't mean agreeing with false doctrine. If you love somebody, to love somebody is to warn them. An open rebuke was love, just like a loving father would do his child. Hey, don't touch that. You're going to burn your hand. That's love. Love is to warn someone of hidden dangers. And that takes prophecy. That takes to know the end of time. That's brotherly love, to warn you of what's coming to pass. So many people think that, oh, you're condemning them, or you're hating on them, or don't judge me. That's what I get a lot. It says a spiritual man judges all things. No sin is justifiable in the eyes of the Lord. If I don't tell you, you're not making heaven as a homosexual, as a lesbian, sin, smoking, vaping, drinking, sex outside of it. You're not making heaven. Read the Bible. You're not going to make, oh, I can't wait for the Lord to come. They say this while they're sitting in their sin. I'm like, it says, woe to those that pray for the day of the Lord. It's going to be a day of doom and gloom. He's coming to destroy. He said, I'm not coming for peace. I'm coming with a sword to kill the unrighteous. Everybody's got Jesus groomed up to be this. Oh, he loves us all. He don't love your sin. He don't love you destroying his world. I hate them with a perfect hatred that hate you, Lord, the destroyers of this world. I'm coming to remove sin and sinner off my land. He doesn't love you living for Satan. Quit grooming God up to be in this image you want him to be. He is who he says he is. I am that I am. I heal, I make sick, I give life, I kill. I, the Lord, do all these things. I send them to delusions they believe. I set up kings, I remove kings. I am the King of kings, Lord of lords. He will take your life. He will kill you. This is the God that I serve, that will remove you off his land. That's the God I serve. He loves you enough to warn you. That's why the plagues come. Like he gave him Pharaoh 4 plagues. Plagues on the lives. Even the pharaohs of old, like Abraham and his sister, when the pharaohs of old, he lied about him being his wife, and he realized that all his livestock got plagued. Judgments were falling on his empire. Even he of old was smart enough to say, "Hey, take your sister and leave." But they were smart enough back then to, hey, wait a minute, they respected their God, the Most High God. He's like, you need to leave. You need to take your sister and go. You're causing destruction here. They were smart enough back then, but now, I don't think it's happening. I think people are enveloped with evil and won't see the truth for nothing. They won't even realize that judgments are falling like they are. Lupus, diabetes, cancer, dementia, Parkinson's, and even affecting the livestock. Mad cow disease, Ebola, all these things. This is not, you didn't hear about these things in the old days. These are judgments that's fallen on a wicked world. Just like when homosexuality came on the scene. That brought AIDS to the scene. That was the Lord warning you. Man shall not lie with man, nor woman with woman. Here's the plague that's going to bring onto this land. But what did they do? They went to science so they can keep living in their abomination. They went to science, pharmaceuticals. Here, we're not going to stop doing this, even though we're being warned by our Creator. We're going to live in our abomination and just try to prolong our life. And now it goes around, babies are born with it. And that's why they say, well, some people will be like, ask me, well, that baby was born with it, so you're going to say that God doesn't love that baby? No, this curse started from somewhere. Somewhere. Babies are being born into sin-filled environments. No, God doesn't wish for a child to suffer, but look back where it's manifested, where the child is born in despair because of the sin in the world and the people that bring them into life that shouldn't be bringing life into the world under their duress or under their distress. Yes, the Lord loves babies. Do we love them enough to give them a half a chance? To do the right thing, to give them a safe place to live or an environment that's conclusive to growth? People say this to me all the time. I love my babies. What are you doing to make the world a better place for them then? How much do you love your baby? How much do you love your child's future? Because I don't think many have one anymore.